What's up, y'all? Today we're going to be breaking down a super clean, crispy graphic. It's so clean you can lick it. So let's start with the background, a picture of the clouds. I love this picture and ended up just taking all of the, well, almost all of the color out of it with a hue saturation layer by pumping up the lightness and by taking down the saturation. I think that looks pretty good. So then we have a sort of like lens flare effect, and I just put that in the background. Then we have our cutout. So what I wanted to do is just cut him out to make him look like he's coming out from behind the clouds. So basically I just went in and like used a brush on him and just trimmed up around this cloud to kind of separate him, making him look like he's like coming from behind these clouds right here. So that makes that look pretty clean. So then we want to match him with the background. So right now he looks a little bit more contrasted and everything else. So what we did was we gave him an inner shadow. So that's him normally. We put an inner shadow on him. That means a linear dodge add. These are the settings for that. Then I added in an exposure layer, which brightened him up down here where the clouds were to really blend him in better. I think that looks better than it did before. And then I just used a curves layer, and that basically, so I just took up the dark areas to make them lighter. So it just kind of blends him in with the graphic more because there's not really much like dark area in these graphics. Everything is pretty light. So we want to make him look like he is in this cloud burst effect or whatever. And so you just take up the dark areas to match him to that using a curves layer. So now I added in another lens flare on his helmet. You can kind of see that it's very small. And then another lens flare on the side of his helmet. Those are such a linear dodge add and screen. And then another like lens effect. I really like using lens effects like this. It just like kind of makes the graphic pop and look unique. That's set to screen as well. And then we added in the lightning. Those are all set to color dodge. And I made one kind of like touching his hand, both of his hands and his head. Simple enough. And I had a spotlight effect, and I just turned that to soft light. That's what it looks like normally. So I turned that to soft light, and then it just kind of like darkens up the edges a little bit and brightens him up to really make him look like he's in the spotlight. So then I added in the text at the bottom. You know, you always got to have some catchy phrase or something to get the recruits excited. So I decided to go with It's Electric up here for the Air Force. And then this color lookup really made it pop. So this is why I use color lookups, because sometimes you just have a look and it's pretty good, but then if you just go through real quick at the end of your graphics, or maybe somewhere in the middle, use a color lookup and just kind of scroll through them, you might find one that just makes the overall look of the graphic more or just better and more uniform than what you had before. And that's what happened here. I really like the difference. I think this just looks a lot cleaner. There's kind of like less different colors. Like this just looks a little bit more dirty, there's a little more maybe contrast in certain areas that I don't like. And so that really just kind of cleans it all up and makes it all look like one simple, clean graphic. So then I just have duplicated layers. This one was the apply image layer, and I set that to 50%. So basically that just darkened up certain parts of it. So now the whole graphic looks pretty uniform here. So then we can kind of add some contrast into the whole thing if we want to do that. That's basically what I did here. And then I went in and did another apply image and set that to screen like I usually do. And you can see if I just turn it on and off where it's mostly brushed in. And where it's mostly brushed in is on these lightning bolts, just to give them some extra glow and pop. So I really like how that turned out. And then we just have the first name and last name. And I gave that a little bit of a shift in this text down here as well. So it's not just like straight up and down and boring. Sometimes you want to just like tweak stuff, throw it off a little bit, mix it up. This graphic will be on Patreon if you want to check it out and download it and follow along with the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.